very knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable. Look
yes.
at you, Mr. Professional. We are straight into it. Welcome, of course, to Wealth by Design. It is Edge Radio Australia. The man who we jokingly said before we went to air, mate, but we were talking behind your back. We said you can, in fact, we were saying about you and I, we can talk underwater, right? We can. And I'll tell you right now, we're going to have to be very quiet today because we have an awesome special guest. We had a little talk off air and, this lady, a lot of knowledge. A lot of fun, fantastic. Do you want to do the introductions for us?
I certainly can, Aaron, and thank you so much for the great opportunity to introduce the mighty Mia Shilkin all the way from Sunshine Coast. Mia, welcome today. Lovely to see you join the great Edge Radio show because, as you know, I had 10 years in the property industry before I set up my financial planning company, and we've had lots of discussions about your wonderful world of how you go about looking after your clients' best interests in the property investment wealth world. And so happy days. Glad you could join us. We've been talking about this for a while.
We have, and here we are.
Yeah.
First time presenter, as they say.
Oh, look, if you're too good, he's going to get the flick. I'm sorry. That's how it's going to work, right? Looking forward to today. Let's jump right into it, though. So, Mia, let's talk about your history and where you came from to be in the spot that you are today.
This could be a long conversation.
That's okay.
That's all right. If it stays interesting, we'll just keep it going.
Yeah, that's right. It's Mia Week at Edge Radio. So where I came from, well, when you ask me that, first of all, of course, I think about my ancestors.
Yes.
And I come from two very long lines of incredible people who are all quite short, but big in, personality and talent.
Yes.
So I grew up in Perth in this incredible melting pot of culture and excellence that is my family. And I am a Perth girl, as you might have picked up, but I've been in Queensland. I escaped or moved on or something in 2020. But my background was actually in youth work, drug and alcohol counselling. I worked in homeless shelters and disability support work. But I've always really loved helping people. And I think at some stage, the motto, I love to help people who want to help themselves, kind of crystallized into my mind. Yeah, that's right. And I found sometimes in human services, you can have a bit of a revolving door because it's about being heard, not about being healed. You guys are great. You remind me of those two fellas from the Muppets that just everything I say. This is fabulous. I'm enjoying it.
Mia can't make the wrong move.
No, she can't. Absolutely. No. We've become the Mia fan club, let's be honest.
Night is young. Let's give me a chance.
That's right.
But yeah, I at some point segued into real estate because I love property. I love design. Any of my friends who are listening who've ever been to my house, they'll know I've got crazy gardens and all that sort of thing. I really love that. And that's what I thought real estate was about. But I don't know, is this a PG show? Am I allowed to say?
Say whatever you like.
Say whatever you like.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So when I announced that I was becoming a real estate agent, one of my friends said to me, "You don't strike me as the BMW driving wanker type." I was like, well, actually, I drive a Mercedes, but, close.
Look, it's a different grade of wanker. I understand. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And it's an old style. Old. It's not got any new fancy stuff. It's old and established. But, yeah, I do get where she was coming from. It was just all a bit sort of tacky and all about the marketing. And so I lasted for a few years working as a sales agent and just went, no, this isn't for me. I've gone from helping youth on the streets to getting into really weird ego conversations about farm areas with real estate agents. It just wasn't my cup of tea. So I left and I started to work for a company who were property investment strategists. And I remember the first time I sat down at a table with the owner of the company talking to some clients about investing because we worked Australia-wide. And he's talking all about the Melbourne market. And I was like, right, I'm going to have to find something else to do. I'm never going to learn all of this. And that was, I think, 14 years ago. So clearly I did learn and I didn't find something else to do. And here I am now. And after my move to Queensland, I didn't want to run my own business, but it just seemed to be the direction that I kept being pushed towards. And so now I am, the boss lady.
Boss lady of, okay. So can you explain a little bit about how you go about promoting your service to the property investment world? And I think you've got a very large female following. Do you do sort of special women's events, women investor events and things like that? If that's the case, can you sort of expand on that a bit?
Yes, definitely. Well, being born a woman, very lucky for me. I am now able to appeal to that section of the community. And I have had the honour and the pleasure of speaking at Angela Henderson's Australian Women in Business conference last year. It was my first time on stage, and I was wearing really fancy pants, and they were shaking before I got up there because I was so nervous. And then I sat down and went, oh yeah, no, I know what I'm talking about. This is okay. I've been doing this for a little bit. So yeah, I do speak at quite a few events now. I did an amazing one here on the coast 2 weeks ago for a group called Gather Together, which was a bunch of female business owners, and the Australian Women in Business Conference is predominantly business owners as well. I'm speaking there again this year. Later on, I'm going to be doing a little showcase in July with Wealth by Design as well. But yeah, I do.
That one should be great.
Yeah, should be. But yeah, it's just sort of become something that I've gone from somebody who didn't want to be on the internet, didn't need to be on the internet because the company I worked for many years was all inbound, to realizing that there is a niche out there that's not being covered, and that's where I fit. And so my focus is on building portfolios for people more than just one property, catch you later, another property, catch you later. It's kind of like, one of the sound bites they took from the conference was me saying I'm a long-term relationship kind of girl, which, I don't know the context. You probably don't really want that out on the internet all the time, but but yeah, that's what it is. So I have a lot of people who contact me to see if they're ready or able to invest. I've been really blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think so, because like that is a question that a lot of people who aren't in the game, like, okay, you guys, you're dealing with money all the time, you're dealing with clients all the time, but if you're somebody who's got a little money aside, or they're looking at their future, they're thinking about their investments, you think, am I ready? Like, am I in the right space?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's a gap of people understanding, like, what does it actually require to make that next step?
Yes, yeah. And it's true. Well, it all comes into the whole subject of financial literacy or illiteracy, right?
Yep.
And so, and properties is just one of the four major investment categories: shares, property, fixed interest, cash, right?
Yep.
So property is where a quarter of or more of the world's wealth is.
That's right.
And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I think there's lots of computations of sort of who's who in the zoo when it comes to property, because we would have you had the financial planning company forever, and so we would be very cagey about, and for years we would talk about the White Shoe Brigade from the Gold Coast.
Oh, really?
Knocking door to door here in Perth, flogging land that would flood at high tide, right?
I think the obvious question is Mia, do you wear white shoes? I mean, come on.
Not with my hair dye. No, I don't wear anything white if I can get away with it. No.
Yeah, but it talks about the integrity of it all, right?
Yeah.
Because these guys were shysters, and we used to really keep an eye out for them, because they would knock on doors. They were highly qualified direct salespeople when door knocking was legal.
Right.
And they had this whole very, very powerful sales pitch, and they would stitch people up for $150,000 blocks of land.
Wow.
You could do independent research, and they were 80,000.
Right. And they're about to be underwater.
Selling them to miners in the West for 150.
Gotcha.
And they would flood at high tide. Okay. That's why they're 80 grand.
Yeah.
And so it was just scandalous thievery of the worst kind. And of course, every industry's got their shady operators.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Actually, well, and obviously you wouldn't be speaking right here with Jeff and myself if you were one of those. So, I mean, integrity is such a big thing in business, and you're in a position there where you beam that every day. We've actually had a question pop up, and I do want to ask Mia about this. It's, Mia, now, how did you actually come up with your business name?
So there's a sort of a hybrid Italian-Spanish theme to it, not of
Okay.
which I'm neither. But Mia, my name, Casa means house. So my
Yes.
house. So there's this saying, my house is your house. Mi casa
Yeah.
es su casa, right? So I implemented that and just changed it a little and made it my own. And I called myself Mia Casa. So a play on my name and my house. And also because your success is our success. So instead of my house is your house, your success is our success, which means that I'm invested, pardon the pun, into creating a successful strategy and portfolio for my clients. So yeah, I did. Look, there were many names bandied about, but that one just kind of fit.
Oh, that's lovely. I
I
think
like
it
it.
fits beautifully.
Yes,
And of course,
very creative.
And I even went to speak to Mia recently. I actually found one of her clients like a property for, I think they paid 900 grand, but it was like $60,000 under the asking price. So that's where Mia can expand on that. Actually what she does at a highly ethical client's best interests category, which is absolutely the opposite of the shysters I was talking about earlier, right? And so that's what I think I'll get you to talk a little bit more about exactly what you do and how you build those portfolios up for clients that absolutely need someone that's trustworthy, transparent, and as we used to say in the old financial planning parlance, you must act in your client's best interests. And where you've got anyone doing anything with people's money, unless they actually are doing that, sincerely doing that, then they're nothing more than product floggers, right? Like a real estate agent essentially is just hanging out for his commission. That's not what Lisa is. That's not what Mia is, despite the fact that Mia is a licensed real estate agent. So can you expand a bit more on exactly how you go about helping your clients build their wealth and how you make a living? Like what sort of fees, how the fee structure works? Like, I don't think you hang out for the 2% commission on selling a property like the real estate agent. That's not you. But how do you do it?
So it's been a trial and error scenario because I worked for other people before I created my own scene. And they had different models, they had different ways of getting paid. And I've just sort of combined all of it to make it work for what's best for the people that I work with and myself as well. Because what I found was in the buyer's agent model, you've got to pay per property. There's not really a strategy. And it's just, you can go in and say, I want you to get me a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom property, east facing, white only. And we want a pool that's shaped like a kidney. And that's what they go and get. And it could be a horrendous choice, but that's what you've asked for. So that's what the buyer's agent is going to get you. And there's more of it's about what my clients need. And hopefully that also is what they want. But sometimes what they want is not what they need. And I know that sounds a little bit like cryptic. But
you're asking the questions. That's the difference.
So on point, right?
Yeah. You've got to ask the questions
because you're the expert.
Spot on.
Yeah. So I've had clients who'll come to me and they've been reading something or someone's told them something and they're like, I want a really old house on a really big block and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm like, okay, that's great. So who will be doing that for you? Because you live on the other side of the country.
You're going to need tradesmen, all of that sort of thing.
And it is. It's about drilling down to that. So I sort of have a 5-step process. And the first part is the planning part. And that's when we sit down and we don't even talk about property. We talk about goals, life goals, time goals, strategy, what assets and liabilities. So if I'm speaking with my clients, I'm asking them, how much super have you got? What other investments have you got? What is it you're looking? Why are you here today? How can I help you? What's your 5, 10, 15, 20, 50-year plan apart from staying alive? And, and then we go from there. And the property is kind of a vehicle in a way. It fits into that. So there can't be an emotion attached to it. And when we start getting emotional about our property choices, sometimes that leads us in and I've done it. I bought stupid properties for stupid reasons.
We've all done it. I want to make a couple of points. I love the fact that you're looking at this at a holistic sort of way, right? It's not just a purchase. It's not just a, money-making thing. You've got to look at your super. You could look at your goals. Look at all the things you want to bring together to get the result, right? Like at the end of the day, we want the result. So, but yeah, and you are so right on the emotional thing. I think people get so attached to properties. It's happened to me. I've made some very poor decisions based on that. We are emotional beings, but yeah, when you're looking at it from an investment point of view, you have to be cold. You've got to cut back from that.
And you can make great moves that can absolutely help you achieve your goals or even exceed them, or quite the opposite. A bad move means you can be indebted for life.
That's right.
And in a property that's not going to go up in value, and that's why Mia's obviously people like Mia in this world of clients' best interests in property, which is rare. Very special people. Yeah,
agreed.
It's not always an easy conversation to have, but it's got to be had. And there's a really cool expression that I heard: a bad asset at a good price is still a bad asset.
Yeah,
and a good asset at a bad price, hopefully, we'll get there eventually. And a bad asset at a bad price, well, you're screwed.
Yeah.
and technical terminology there.
Oh yeah, no, I knew you went straight to the tech book. I get it. Yeah, I saw that.
And there's people in there's people in Mia's property industry that go about their way of their business a very different way. Who are competitors. And the secret, I guess, for you, Mia, is to turn those competitors that don't do the full transparency bit and only interested in a transaction. You've got to be able to compete with those and win them over, because I guess that's why you run your seminars and got such a great following, because it's your brand, that is key for trust and ongoing relationships, and not just one property, but second, third, and fourth properties. Because you're helping them build up their portfolios. So yeah, great. So got a question in relation to superannuation, self-managed super funds. Do you do much work with clients, self-managed super funds, where they want to buy the property inside us in SMSF?
Yeah, that was one of the things I learned early on, actually. And having been a youth worker who was paid directly, or a disability support worker who was paid directly by the families and didn't even think about super, that was a big one for me as well. There was a lot of learning for myself about my own journey. But very early on, we learned that's for so many reasons, which I won't get into now, but that's a really great option tax-wise, strategy-wise, depending on your personal situation. Yes, self-managed super fund purchases. I've assisted clients to purchase a whole range of different properties, including NDIS properties, through their self-managed super fund. Whether they've got one or not, I can direct them to the best places to get them set up. But yes, the actual purchasing and the choice of the properties. Yeah,
that is so exciting, because we had people in the office the other day that they were sort of in their mid-50s, and they said, "Oh, Jeff, we've got this property, and it's 1.1 million, and they're getting $700 a week rent, and they say that's going to be part of our super." I'm going, "Oh, is it owned by the super fund?" They went, "Oh, no, it's just in joint names." I'm going, "Oh, righto," but $700 a week, like after expenses, it's about a 3% yield.
That's right.
And Mia just said there, well, NDIS or similar properties, and they're like upwards of 8%.
Big difference.
Net yield. Yeah. And so I had this discussion with these people I said, look, wouldn't you be better off, because if you're getting $30,000 a year taxable rent in a property, which is all you're going to get, it's in joint names, and you can be bloody 90 and you're still going to get taxed, right?
Of course you are.
And you're going to pay
the age here, don't forget you. No.
You're still going to pay tax as a jointly owned property on $30,000 a year, right? Yeah. And I said, look, I'm no property expert, but I do know people that are, which is part of our brand, as you know. We refer work all over the place, including to young Mia here. And we go, righto, well, maybe Mia's got $1 million property, but maybe it's getting an 8% yield, and it can be set up inside a self-managed super fund. So why wouldn't you be better off getting an $80,000 annual income in retirement tax-free than $30,000 a year in retirement income, which is taxable.
Which becomes, we'll call it 20,000 roughly, and it's shocking.
Yeah, you've got to be over 60, and you've got to tick some boxes
of course,
and super.
There's no doubt about it.
You've got to be over 60, you've got to be in pension phase, and you've got to be retired. But then your 80 grand is tax free, and they go, oh my God, can you do that? And of course, so you need people like me to help with the property, and then you need other people that are like financial planners, because I'm not no longer, so we can refer that work to a financial planner to get the self-managed super fund set up and put all the advice around. They can do the cash flow modelling, and happy days.
Put the whole picture together.
Yeah.
Look, just so you're aware there, Mia, too, you're getting some fan mail on the side there. People are loving this information, so there you go.
That's nice. What, is my mum listening?
It's good
that's
to see.
great. Thank you.
People appreciate it.
Thank you. I one of the wonderful things about my industry is being able to work with other professionals and experts who are like the financial planners and the mortgage brokers and the accountants and the wealth coaches and everybody who do have that best interest for the client in mind, and we can all work together to support them.
Yeah, too right. Yeah, because that's where it's at.
Yeah,
quality people working together with the client's best interests driving it, and it can be a great result for everybody.
That's right. And if you have got that clear, the best interests of the client, if you you maintain that as the foreground there, you do the right thing. And you know what? You build a real business. You don't build something fly by night. You get something where you get repeat business from that person. You know what? It becomes a generational thing. Their kids sort of come on board, all that. So you build it in that sort of state, integrity, you've got an absolute win there. There's no doubt about that. Bit of a question for you, if I may, Mia, right? You are in Queensland, beautiful Queensland, right? Gorgeous place. If I was going to live anywhere else in Australia rather, out of WA, it would definitely be Queensland.
And it's Sunshine Coast, right, which is north of Brisbane. Is that right?
Correct, yes. Gold Coast is the south one with the white shoes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like the Gold Coast, funny enough. But there you go. What I was going to say is this. I mean, you escaped Perth at that very opportune time in 2020. To be there, now say if I had some money to invest and I was looking at property and I want to buy something in Queensland, because I see some great opportunities in Queensland. It certainly, it does look fantastic. Your expertise in being in the area, obviously you can share that with clients a long way away.
Well, it's funny you say that, because my first opportunity to work with property and clients in Queensland came when I still lived in WA. So I was in WA working with clients all over Australia, with properties all over Australia, because obviously we're going to, well, not obviously, but we're going to areas where there is the best opportunity for the client, not the best opportunity for the client to drive past and see what their tenants are doing. So those things don't link sometimes. So absolutely. Queensland, everywhere around Australia. I think the first question is, though, if you said to me, I want to buy in Queensland, I'd say, why?
Oh, okay.
Well, here's one. Just ask you the question, Aaron.
Well, looking at me, clearly you can see I'm a keen surfer. So,
Me too. Surfing the internet. Here we go.
We're good at that. No, that's really interesting you say that, because like at the moment we've got a lot of venture capitalists, who are looking at WA for rental returns and that sort of thing, and NDIS stuff. And there's a lot of possibilities. So we're seeing a lot of people from the east investing in the west. So look, to be frank, this is why we talk to people like you, why we need expert help, because I need to know where the hotspot is. I might be going, gee, that place in Queensland looks good. Look, the beach is fantastic, all of that. And it might be, look, next month swimming down the river.
Yeah.
And look, and I would love to, my response to you would be, what is a hotspot? And how long do you need it to be like this? And what is your plan? When is your next property? How long do you have the capital for your next deposit, or are we raising this from this purchase? So, and it's interesting.
So I can't answer.
Yeah. Your hypothetical property purchase, you don't have the answers for it.
Yeah, so that's the good there. That's where people like me, they'll ask all the hard questions, and sort of chronology line up your thinking process.
Agreed.
Because it is about a serious commercial commitment.
Of course it is. It's
a lot of money. It's got to go right. There's a lot of high up, because there's gearing involved. Gearing works two ways, right? Incredibly profitably for you.
Sure.
You have small amount of real cost if you're gearing, and it works a dream as long as the property is going up in value. If it's going down in value and you're gearing, all you're doing is fast tracking your losses.
You are. That's
Right. And so people like me are red hot important, because they'll do the research on the growth areas in the area. Why is it growing? Is it close to public transport, schools, I mean, that I'm thinking that's right. That's right, isn't it, Mia? You put an enormous amount of thought into why a property should be going up in value.
Yeah, we call it due diligence.
Yeah.
It's a fancy name for like covering all the bases, but it's not just about the area, it's about your goals and how the area will tie in with the goals. So, if you're happy to just sit for 5 years, that's different to, right, we've got a plan. We want 4 properties. Our first one now, we want our second one in 2 years, and we don't have the deposit for that. So when you're looking at things like hot spots and warm spots, how long is it hot for? Or is it warm now? It will be hot. And I'm actually really blessed to be able to have access to software that helps me cut through some of the noise with that, so I can, ascertain those things for my clients.
Fantastic. Now, how closely do you work with like the industry, like real estate agents or mortgage brokers, these sorts of people? Do you do much conjunctional work? Are they an important part of your world when it comes to finding the right ideal properties for your clients?
The good ones are, yes.
Yeah.
Not all agents and brokers are created equal, as you would know.
No.
Yes.
Yes. So absolutely. I have some very, very, very great relationships with brokers who have their clients' best interests at heart first. And we collaborate in terms of, we will share clients. I will send information. If there's something about it that they don't like, they don't go, oh, well, that's okay, Mia sent it, for example. They'll question it. So everybody always has to be on the same page, looking after the client. And so accountants and mortgage brokers and real estate agents, especially, because if I'm looking for something specific for a client and I'd like it to be shown to my client before anyone else sees it, then that's how we create those relationships where the real estate agent can save on marketing for their client, get the property sold, especially if it's tenanted. We don't want to be upsetting the tenants with heaps of inspections. It's very much, it's like a when it works well, it works well.
Tremendous. Now, there's a question that's come through from Lisa.
Yep.
How do people pay you for your service, Mia?
In Australian currency.
She's a funny. Still stand-up comedy, I swear. Right?
Does stand-up comedy. Oh, no, she's onto it. She's not standing up at the moment, I don't think.
No, I'm definitely not standing up.
One of those shorties.
Not like us. Okay, done.
I actually went to a stand-up comedy event one night with a friend for her birthday, and at the end, her sister surprised us all by standing up and doing an impromptu.
Is that right?
It went quite well, but I didn't dip my toe in. I just appreciated it. But no, people pay me.
Get out there and do it.
So people pay you?
People pay me. I have what's called the concierge service.
Okay.
Yep. How's that work?
And it is a once-off payment. They come on board. They become a member of Mia Casa strategy. They utilize the concierge service. So they pay me once. They come on board, and then we start with our planning session. Then we go on to all the different steps. And I've had clients that have come on board and, for example, they got pregnant. And so they decided to put a pause on their property investing journey. But because they paid for the membership, they can come back to me at any time and take that up again. So I've had people that have had to put their journeys on hold for whatever reason. That's okay. They've got a lifetime membership, so they can come back and get more information.
Okay. Is that fee tax? Do you know if that fee is tax deductible?
That's a good question, and that'd be one for the client's accountants.
Yeah, sure.
What I actually understand is if it's a once-off fee, potentially not, but then there's also it's different through your self-managed super, that sort of thing. So it's sort of specific to each person's situation.
Oh, that's a very good answer, because it's the truth. You go back to the tax specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Use the people who've got the
Mia's not a
skills.
Mia's not a tax person,
Spot on.
and that's the only way you can answer that question.
Yeah,
Right.
I like that.
Mm,
Look, just, you know what? Put the things in the people's hands who have the skills, right? Yeah, like we've often joked about, and I'm very lucky here. I can often sit here as the dumbest guy in the room and take in all this wonderful information. It's fantastic. But that's it. If you want to invest, if you talk to the people who have the skills, right? Shortcut your success. Don't go out there and make all the mistakes. Go and talk to someone, engage them, use their services, and cut out all those mistakes. What a great way of doing it, in my opinion.
Mia, got another question. There's a property for one of your clients, and you absolutely think it's the best thing for them. It meets all their goals and objectives, but it's listed to a real estate agent, right? Now, these real estate agents do conjunctionals. Now, you're a licensed real estate agent.
I am.
As well as having a fee-for-service model, right, with your subscription. So that real estate agent that's got the property that your client wants, how do you go about doing that deal? Like, there's 20,000 commission in the property, all up. Under a normal conjunctional, that real estate agent would be looking to probably do 50-50 and make 10 grand out of the deal, right? But the client's expecting to lose 20,000 when they sell it. The vendor pays the fee. So what happens to the other what happens to the other 10 grand that the client's expecting to receive, or expecting to pay when they sell that property? They're expecting to call it 2%, 20 grand's going out. It's a conjunctional with you. Do you pick up the 10 grand plus your fee? How does that work?
So that's a good question, and I'll give you an example of a real situation that I had recently with some clients who the property was listed. They are investing clients of mine, but they really wanted this property to live in. And I actually really can't imagine anything worse than choosing properties for people to live in anymore. But because they're my clients and I love them, I said, yes, I would help. And so what I did was I made a phone call to the real estate agent who had been really, I don't know, maybe they just didn't see all the missed calls from my clients. Who knows? But I got through and I had a very professional and serious conversation with them. And in that moment, I weighed up all of the situation and I could see that really what was best for my clients was for me to just go in there and act on their behalf and not mention anything about any fees or any finances, and just get this deal done and get them a good price for it. Because first of all, I thought the price that they were advertising was ludicrous. I thought it was too much.
Too high,
Yeah, too high. I think that, and look, in some markets you can go too high, but that's not what I want for my clients. That's just sort of what's happening. There's a scarcity thing, so people are paying more. But I also knew that if I made it even slightly unpalatable for the agent, that they probably would put my clients down the bottom of the list. So I didn't even mention conjunction. So whatever happened with that fee is none of my business. Had it been a scenario where it wouldn't have been a conflict of interest, and then I would have let them know my license number and asked them for a conjunction. But really the best thing in that situation was for me to get that property for my gorgeous clients and their 2 boys and their new dog, and get it at the best price. And so that's all.
Okay, brilliant. So the full fee probably ends up going to the selling agent.
Where's the agent?
So who's got the listing, and you stick just receiving your flat fee.
Yep, that's right. So
great deal because you've negotiated the price down as low as you could.
Yeah, we got 60,000 off the price.
That was a 61,
right?
Mia's told me about that deal. Yeah,
fantastic. And look, just that skill. A lot of people just don't feel comfortable negotiating, right? I mean, I'll barter over a pair of sunglasses, right? I enjoy the negotiation, right? But a lot of people feel very uncomfortable. So again, putting somebody who does this for a living, is comfortable with it, that this is such a benefit.
Yeah, that's
$60,000 benefit in that particular case.
I learned to barter when I was 12, and we lived in Malawi in West Africa.
All right. Yeah, we need to get very busy there.
Really?
Yeah, I learned to barter as a small person. My brother started when he was 6, so he's even ahead of the game. But it was a normal way of life. And I'm there on someone else's behalf. That's the other thing, I'm there really protecting my clients and making sure. And it's the best feeling in the world when you get to call them and say, hey, guess what? We've done it.
We've done it.
that's worth more than any financial reward in that instance. You know, they've paid me for my service. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing it well. I'm looking after them, and they're happy. And they sent me the most beautiful gift as well. You know, this little retreat in a box, which they obviously knew I needed. There was no vodka in it. I'm sure that got lost in the post, but
of course it did.
But yeah, no, in that instance, that was the best outcome for all.
Well, I've got a couple of questions come through, so I just want to fire these at you, if I may. Do you help people with house and land packages?
Yes, I help them with construction.
Okay.
So, like, for example, the NDIS process is land and then build. It always is, because, you know, they need to be brand new. Depending on somebody's strategy, sometimes building and construction is the best for them because of the tax benefits and because of the warranties and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, there's a whole range of different options that I help clients with, including house and land.
I like that.
Fantastic.
Next question was, do you attract a particular demographic, like baby boomers, men, women, children, animals?
Particular demographic, colourful people, really. No.
Yeah.
So I have worked with everybody, really. I've had beautiful independent women, independent men, couples, same-sex couples, heterosexual couples, like you name it, I've worked with them. I think I am attracting a lot of people who have been through life experiences that have changed their financial trajectory. I've had clients who've had the loss of a spouse, either through divorce or death, and they haven't got their affairs in hand, and then they need to make future plans they didn't think they were going to need.
Sure.
I work with a lot of business people who are not only building their businesses, but are building a portfolio alongside it. So yeah, just a whole range. I mean, I could go, it's a good question. I should go back through my stats and find out more chicks or guys, but you know, I don't know. I've been doing it for so long. I would say I work with more independent women than independent men, but yeah, I'm happy to work with anyone who passes the not an asshole test.
That is just so good. I mean, there was a period in my life where I was working with some of the clients of some of the top family law firms in town,
right?
And quite often you would have I'd be referred these women who were completely and utterly unsophisticated in anything to do with money, because they're generally involved in relationships where they had a credit card and no say in the financial arrangements at all of the family. But now they've got divorced and they've got, $2 or $3 million.
Yeah.
And wouldn't know how to do a bank transaction.
Crazy.
Right. And so if they want to go and buy a property, they are absolutely at risk of being predated on, right, by the sharks in the industry, or any industry, not just property. And so, there'd be opportunities that pop up in that world, like a class of women.
Sure. Careful, mate. Right now, be very careful.
Yes, I know.
I'm teasing.
It's 2025, Jeff, just letting you know. 1985 called.
I'm back in 85.
It's happening today until 2025. I'll give you the tip.
Yep.
And
you're right.
And so it's just, if you're operating in the client's best interests, you've got to have people there on the spot that will go, hang on a minute, these are people you should not be dealing with.
Yeah.
These are the people you should be dealing with.
I love that. Yeah. And it's important. Again, this gets back to the basics, doesn't it? We have well and truly gone over time, which I love that. It's always a good thing. Mia is just wonderful to talk to. So much information. I'm looking forward to, because I believe, when I say I believe, I already know. You're coming
already.
And we've got a spot on the other couch over there for you. You will be here, and it's in this year. It's going to be absolutely wonderful.
Right there, Mia, that couch.
In the hot spot.
In the hot spot. So that's in July, isn't it, when I get back?
July,
from leave. Yeah. So you're there, and then you're a guest on our Money Matters event.
Yeah.
Following, so you'll be here on a Thursday. The following Tuesday, you come into our office in Subiaco. So that'll be fabulous.
It's going to be absolutely brilliant. I can't wait for it. In the meantime, though, if people want to get hold of you, obviously we'll put up the links and all the goodies. But in the meantime, where can they get hold of you? Yeah, on the old net.
On the old net, all the surfing we talked about before.
Yes.
So
Yes.
my website is miacasastrategy.com.au, and you can find me under Mia Shilkin on Facebook, Mia Casa Strategy on Instagram. I do have a young cousin of the same name. She won't help you with anything. She probably asked me for money. Can I have some pocket money? I was still in high school. But
of course, you can go to the marvelous Wealth by Design
Exactly.
and ask about the Mia girl that was on the show.
They can do that.
And bingo, I will just flip them straight through to you.
Absolutely.
Everything sorted out. In fact, I mean, you are so well connected, mate. It is absolutely brilliant. I want to finish the show on just singing this man happy birthday.
Oh.
No, I'm not going to do it. I wouldn't do it to you. Happy birthday, mate. I'm telling you right now, it's an absolute pleasure having you, Mr. Summer of 69. It is. You know what? This is not about business. This is about friendship. You're a fantastic fella to spend time with. And I thank you so much for your friendship, for your knowledge, and for the amazing people that you bring to our Edge Radio family. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Aaron. It's a pleasure. We'll continue the roadshow of attracting good people.
Only the good ones.
Only the good ones. And Mia, thank you so much for your time today. I know you're a busy girl. It was great to get you on air.
I wouldn't miss your birthday on air.
So, of course, now Mia will be singing happy birthday, yeah?
No, I don't sing for people I like.
Exactly. That's why there's still people in your life. Thank you very much for that.
Right.
We're going to cut right there. It is Wealth by Design here on Edge Radio Australia.